to go. We're so ready to go. Okay, 5 hands raised. I'm not hearing old music. Great. Hello, everybody. I was just looking at a couple of raised hands. Someone wasn't hearing hold music. I got kind of a kick out of that. A deep and searching reflection. Welcome to the December webinar. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and happy, frankly, anything else you can think of that I didn't say. It's good to be in the great closing month of 2017. I got to admit, I'm not quite ready to write 2018 on things yet, but I better get ready. It's coming soon. And I think about each year, and it's our tradition for Cindy and I to reflect on the previous year at the end of the year. That's not particularly a unique tradition. I think most people do that. And then we take a look at what is our plan and what are our goals and objectives for 2018. And we set them for ourselves personally on a spiritual level. We set them on a physical level. We set them also on a financial level. And we do the same thing, of course, for our business and our business pursuits. What is it we want to accomplish? And we get pretty specific. And this has always had great power in our lives. I want you to know there have been some times where we didn't do it, and the contrast between our performance and our accomplishment when we don't do it compared to when we do is remarkable. And that's, it's why we have this and why I traditionally finish every year since I started doing these webinars back a number of years ago, to look at this and to study it out. And we're going to review some things today, and let's review for some of you. Some of you, this will be the first time hearing this. We've got, at this point, 711 locations, more are coming on as we go. And there are a few things, other than your decision to not be average and ordinary, there are a few things that will move life forward as dramatically as the combination of setting clearly defined goals and then establishing a plan to reach them. Here we talk about a business plan. I'll read you from a number of years ago, my business plan, so it's more relatable. It'll be different today, but you aren't in the position that Cindy and I are in terms of career responsibility and the business aspects, as opposed to running a base shop and doing the things that we did for years that got us here. And so I'm going to make it relevant just to give you an anticipation of it. But it says there on the slide, as you look across that high desert valley with a road stretching in the distance going over the hills ahead, a goal without a plan is just a wish, and it really is. I mean, so many of us in the world come into a new year, whether it's the Western civilization's New Year coming up here in a few weeks, or the Chinese New Year for a substantial part of the rest of the population of the year. And we look at a new year, we have these things, and we get excited about it, and it's a fresh start, and there's power in that, a great deal of power. But without the plan and without subsequent things to follow up the plan, we're just going around with the majority of the rest of the human race and just wishing for stuff. And it fades, and we get it, and we're easily distracted. And that's reality for most of us. So if you really would like to change that for yourself, in terms of using the phrase I use a lot, changing your stars, changing your destiny, then listen up. And my whole goal in this time that we'll spend here is to see you in a very different place a year from now, and really 3 months from now, and 6 months from now, and a year from now. And so that when we're reviewing this again and we're tweaking again, and plans have to be tweaked. They get stale. You move past some things. Your understanding deepens, and you want to make adjustments to your plan. It's a living document. If you understand what I mean by that, it means it needs to be growing and changing, just like we do. And so let's talk about what we'll call for the purposes of our conversation here, the winning process. And there are 4 steps in it that I want to cover. And it's not complex, but it kind of sets the stage. Step 1, we've got to increase our mental clarity. And that means you're going to have to put your dreams on paper. That's not all you're going to put on paper. But you're going to start getting these things down in a written and visual form. Hold on, we need to do something here. Okay, well, somehow we're getting echo. I don't know if that's on your end or a lot of it. For some of you, if you're getting echo, pick it up if you're alone. And I'll tell you what, I'll pick it up on my end, and that ought to help it some. And we'll keep going. We'll do the best we can. There's nothing on my end that should be echoing at this point. So that means it's on your end. So back to mental clarity. Mental clarity is an extraordinary thing. I think you've all experienced it by now. You certainly remember when you were a kid, when you were zeroed in on a Christmas present or on something you want. I love watching children and their obsession with something. I'll even stop and watch a little kid talking to his mom in a store when he wants something, and using all his or her persuasive powers. I'm always a little bit fascinated and certainly always entertained by that intensity, and wishing that I could maintain that about the things that I want to do. Well, I learned how to maintain that, how to achieve it, and then maintain it. And so in the process of winning, you've got to have increased mental clarity. What is it you want? Why do you want it? How are you going to get it? These are the things that have power, right? Mental clarity. What do I want? Why do I want it? How am I going to get it? And we're going to put that down on paper. We're going to spend most of our time focusing on the business side, but I'm going to give you some illustration on how to do that in some personal areas too, because we're not one-dimensional. We're just not about winning in business. We're about being happy. That means we've got to win in a few other areas too. Next thing in step 2 is intensified focus. And we're looking at feedback here, if I hesitate. Okay, now some people are saying it sounded better before I picked it up. All right, this is fun. So, I am going to put it back on speaker. All right, folks, we're going to just move on, and hope your technology sustains your desire. Back to step 2, intensified focus. Think about your vision. Think about it morning, noon, and night. Obviously, the point I'm making is these things don't stay in your mind. You don't keep moving toward them. You don't keep doing the things that achieves them. When I set financial goals, and the goal is to achieve this by December, I just can't think of it when I set it and think of it again in December, because the odds are then overwhelming. We didn't get anywhere near it. I've got to be reacting to it as I go. And because I had a written plan, I would adjust things constantly in the business. I'd be reading about our classes that were going around BPM or corporate overview night. And so they never got too far off track. It didn't go months and I go, God, what's happening in the classes? This stuff was always on my mind. Of course, I wrote far more important things than that about my personal recruiting objectives and where I wanted to be by the end of every quarter and every month. And the same thing was true in the base shop for production and recruiting. And so I was reacting to things on the 5th of the month if I thought they're going slow, not the 25th. I'm not any so much better of a person. I'm not any more talented. What I had was greater clarity and intensified focus. So I'm thinking about these things now constantly because I read my plan at least every morning and every night, and sometimes during the day, because when I felt like I needed it. Right? Now, the thing you want to work on bringing to the table is step 3, a burning desire. You've got to go ahead and let yourself feel the frustration of seeing and believing your dreams before you have them. You got to think about that. It's fun to think about it, but that's, it's different staying in the shower fantasizing about being a billionaire, and then you get out, dry off, and that's it. It's just a little shower fantasy or daydream, when you're sitting somewhere or driving somewhere, and that's not the thing what I'm talking about. Now, if you have a plan and you're thinking about it, well, that's a different thing. Then you're fueling your desire. And this is a big deal. All engines run on fuel or on energy. Your body needs food, needs the calories. It burns it, right? It burns it with the muscles, with everything else, your heartbeat, your lungs breathing in and out. All of this stuff requires energy to do. And fueling that is critical. The car you drive needs fuel. It's electrical, obviously needs that form of energy. Most of us are driving gas, diesel, whatever, don't care. The point is you've got to fuel yourself, right? You have the frustration of seeing and believing it, but not yet achieving. And get excited about these things. Most people try to act like they don't want something too much. They try and play it cool. And I don't mind if you play it a little bit cool on the outside, but inside, you had better be feeling these things. It better matter to you, right? That you see these things go, that your team's moving forward, right? That I look at it in the whole company thing. I get super intense and burn when the company's not moving the way it is, or Transamerica, maybe not been supporting us in some ways that I think they should. That stuff pisses me off because I have this desire to see these things accomplished in your lives, in the consumer's life. We built this to change the world around us. I wake up, so does Cindy, every morning, and we want to do for others what they wouldn't be able to do for themselves without our help. That's our driving mantra. It's the thing that means the most to us in life. Want to be a difference makers. It's what fuels our burning desire and keeps us going. There you are. And so we increase our mental clarity, we intensify our focus, we're fueling our desire, and we end up developing what I'll call a healthy obsession. And you're thinking, you're strategizing, you're moving closer every day. And rather sitting around with your doubts and your fears, you feed your vision and starve your fear. And this then has great power in your life. People who think this is hokey sit on the sidelines. They're up in the stands while you're out in the field playing and winning and learning and growing and developing a confidence and a perspective and, again, an intensity and a vision and a clarity that the average and ordinary never know, maybe for brief periods of time where they bought a ticket for a sporting event and they're all jacked up to go see their team play in the playoffs or in the World Series or whatever the heck it might be, and they just get and they paint their faces and, put on jerseys with other people's names on it. Doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you a loser. But if that's all you've got, then all you've got is you're taking all this unbelievable capacity that you have and turning yourself into a fan for other people who've decided to go through this process I'm describing. And you just sit in the stands or in the stadium and cheer for them winning and getting paid millions of dollars. No, thank you. That's not why we're in. We didn't create WFG for that. We created it for you. Those of you who want to change that. You know, you want to be the players. It's time for you to become the All-Star and the Hall of Famer. And you may not believe it at this point, but that's why we're talking about this stuff today. I didn't believe it at one point either. I didn't even know how to believe it. Shoot, I didn't even know how to dream it. But I got married to a wonderful woman, and I wanted to be somebody for her and the children I knew we were going to have. You know, yeah, there you go. So, all right, enough of this. I'll spend the whole rest of the day talking about this page. So we will move on, and let's do a little bit of an overview. We're going to talk in a minute here about your top 10. That's the top 10 things that mean the most to you. Engaging your emotions as to why you want to accomplish. So we're going to start with talking about the why. Then we're going to discuss creating a definite plan, right, for carrying out the things you want, right? You've got your why, you know what you want, you've got your desire, and you're going to begin at once, whether you're ready or not, to put your plan in action. And that's the game. And so as we look, then the next thing is write a clear, concise statement. Write a clear, concise statement of your specific goals and objectives. Establish a time limit for each. You're going to state what you intend to give in return. And then you're going to describe clearly the plan to which you intend to achieve them, right? So you got a clear statement of your specific goals and objectives. There's a time limit. You're going to talk about what you're going to give in return, and you're going to have a plan clearly done. And we're going to get that in writing. So we've engaged our emotions. We got this plan. Everything's in print. Now we start reading and programming. Right? I've talked before about the need. You know, we live in an area, Silicon Valley, and we got a bunch of code writers around here. Work for Google and Apple and different places, these software engineers, remarkably brilliant people in their arena of excellence. And I mean, they sit there at a computer and they type stuff, and you know, that's another world for me. And I understand the result of what they do, creating applications and, right, the languages by which computers function and different things happen and our phones work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? In other words, for something to end up with a result, you've got to have the code written. It's already got to be in place, right? And what we don't do very well, most of us, on this call and in this webinar, we got over 1,002 now. We're maxing this thing, locations. As you look at this, we just kind of just bump around. Kind of whatever excites us at the moment. Some of our long-term thinking is looking forward to the TV show we like to watch, the next episode tomorrow night, you know, or the game this weekend, or the ball game of your favorite college team, or let's just get up into Canada. Let's talk about hockey, right? And curling or whatever else, right? As we look at these things, we kind of just drift from moment to moment. We don't really direct our lives the way we should. Guys, I'm not saying you got to do this all your life, but you got to have a condensed period of time, a number of years. I would like to think it was going to be a decade or two at least, where you really are a man or a woman of direction, of purpose, of clarity, of intensity. It takes who you are and magnifies you 5, 10 times your normal effectiveness, and getting 5 and 10 times your normal results. But it's not something for nothing. It's a magic formula, but you got to bring it, you know, and you know it. So let's go to the first thing and talk about our top 10. and what these things are. And up there, for those of you who are just listening in audio, it says, for any business plan to grow wings and fly, you must now engage your most intense positive emotions. Now I'm going to give you an idea of how that can be done. This is the way I did it. A lot of other people I pass this on to. I don't remember where I got it from, or I'd give them credit. But years and years ago, back in the 80s, it occurred to me, I wanted to write down. Somebody probably said, hey, put down 10 reasons in some meeting I was in, and I went to work on it. What I found out is it really was work. Getting 2 or 3 things down that that really mean something to you is pretty easy. But all of a sudden, I found out by just the 4th one, I was starting to restate the previous 2 or 3. And then 5th one was the same thing. I thought, crud, I really am shallow. I never thought of myself as a shallow person, but maybe I am. And what it is we just don't spend much time thinking about these things. And because of that, they don't have the power that they should. And so I really sat down privately and cleared some time, a few hours, I remember, and started working on the things that meant the most to me. And so I'm going to review what I came up with, and I think you ought to come up with your own, but I bet you we overlap in some areas. So let's take a look at them. And so it's going to be the top 10 reasons on the next 2 slides, 5 and 5. Here we go. My first one, and this is the one I got down before everything else, because this is where I live, right? It's where most of us live. And I left blanks open for you to put in your own names, right, for that. But this said, for me, my love for Cindy and our children creates a desire to provide real security, a life free from fear and worry about material concerns. I want independence for her and I, so we can spend our time and energy in our relationship and our family. We got some commas in here that don't need to be there, but we'll clean that up. You can clean it up. But see, you guys, I want independence for her and I so we can spend our time and energy in our relationship and our family. You guys, this is something that we have achieved. I was talking about it. We were visiting the philanthropy. And it's a wonderful philanthropy here in our area in Santa Clara Valley called Next Door Solutions. They help. They're a resource, a crisis center, and they have safe houses for battered women. And Cindy and I feel pretty passionate about this stuff. I feel so bad for women and children who are in this situation. Anyway, we were there. They have this thing coming up. It's kind of a Christmas thing. And anyway, we were there, but we were talking about people and when they lost control. They've had to flee with just the clothes on their back. And when they're in fear for their safety or even their lives. I reflected again with Cindy, she and I did, as we drove away, how grateful we are, one, not to have had that legacy passed on to us, not being those kind of people, and not having had parents that were that way or grandparents that were that way, and that wonderful legacy that means so much. But getting in control was a big deal. We let this matter to us, you guys. Let these things matter to you. Don't go through life numb, trying not to feel things, escape. It's probably why, anyway, I can't go on these tangents for each one of these, or we'll be here till 6 tonight. The second one, it's exciting to work within a situation that encourages emotional growth day by day. And I added the words, my emotional growth day by day. It requires me to become a better person. I love that about our business. I love it about our business model. And so these are my reasons for wanting to be somebody in the business, for wanting to do great things, right? And I'm still jacked up by that. And only now I want to make sure I'm contributing to that environment, that it is the kind of place where you can experience positive emotional growth and become better people. Because our system requires you to lift others up before you get very far. And that's great exercise for our souls. Third one, I can be somebody. I have a feeling of self-worth and know I can make a difference for others with my life. You know how I feel about that. I mean, the number one group of people I want to make a difference for is my own family. But then it ripples out, into the team, into our community, into these different organizations that are dedicated to helping other people have better lives and making a difference. And this stuff is exciting when it starts happening. Fourth one, I want to be part of an enterprise, an effort, a career that I can love doing. I love the challenge and positive excitement. I want it to test me, to cause me to extend myself, and to motivate me to become all I can become. This business has done that for us constantly, right? And it's one of the reasons we're here. One of the reasons we're excited about it. One of the reasons we believe in it. The fifth one, I love to help and give to others as a way of life. I gain great value and happiness and a powerful feeling of well-being by this effort. Now, if you want to change the wording of this, go ahead and do it. It's interesting. I'm reading this in a time where, reflecting back when I wrote this 3 decades ago. Yeah, at least 3 decades ago. We're in our 38th year of marriage, and 37th year coming up. Yeah, July of this next year will be our finish that 37th year, start 38. Anyway, sorry, but the reality is, I wrote this decades ago, and I would work this a little bit different. A few words here and there. Like I say, it's a dynamic thing. But this illustrates to you, there's 5 reasons why I want to be somebody, why when somebody quits, I'm not going to quit, why when somebody criticizes me, I'm not going to stop, right? I'm not going to go hide somewhere under my desk. When the meetings have slowed down, I'm going to attack. These are 5 reasons why I'm going to attack. If I've drifted my personal recruiting, it's why I'm going to recommit to it. Right? If I'm not doing the job I need to with developing leaders, then I'm going to find somebody who knows a little more about that than I do and make sure I get the coaching that I need so I can develop leaders, because I got to do that in order to win. If I was earlier in my career, right, and I just felt like I wasn't doing a good enough job in my field presentation, first presentation and closing, again, I get with people who are better than I am there and do something about it. Why? Here's why. I'm reading it to you. And so this impassions me. It emboldens me. Here's number 6. It's great to associate with leadership I can follow, with confidence in their character and morality. And that's our responsibility as leaders to deliver on that for them. I've always understood, and so has Cindy, that that's our responsibility. You need to be able to have confidence in our character and our morality. 1, so you can know we're not going to take advantage of you. But 2, so you feel good bringing other people around us. Right? And we enjoy our association, that we're proud of each other, that we admire each other. It's a cool thing. 7, I can be in the people business, and we sure are, and grow in my understanding of human nature so as to apply that invaluable understanding to motivate others to be good and to be somebody for wholesome reasons and purposes. And so that carries over into my personal relationships in my own life, but also in my business too. But again, carries over into church. And so I was in the people business before I became much in church leadership, but my church leadership enhanced my business leadership enhanced my church leadership, and it's been a wonderful loop to be in the people business, to start to get people, to connect with them easily and quickly. You can't do that with everybody, but most people you can once you get some experience at it. And it's fun motivating others to be good. And it just, again, it's part of how you make a difference in the world. You see how a lot of this ties to our fundamental motivation, right? To help others do for themselves what they wouldn't be able to do without our help and without our involvement. 8, I have and maintain total financial independence, to have peace of mind, and to make decisions based on motives other than my own financial needs. I must use my resources to bless the lives of others. And we're having the privilege of doing that just yesterday. Number 9, we'll make our home a place of safety and security, a place in the world to call our own, and raise our children with happiness and love. And we love our homes, and right now we're in a stage where that's evolving. We're selling 2 homes. We're selling a farm. Don't worry, we still have a farm. We're selling one of our farms, and we're selling our beach house, and we're kind of fulfilling a dream we've had since courtship, and we bought a home in Pebble Beach. You know, and it goes with the home that we live in most of the time. You know, and very few people needed as many homes as we ended up with. And so we moved to and bought one. And these places, we're excited to furnish it, excited to make it a home, you know, another place for our family to gather and for us to host people in the company, our extended family, to do things philanthropically and to host things there for that, because it's a special place in the world. And anyway, there you go. I'm a lot more jacked about that than I'm reflecting. We don't have time. And last one, the 10th one, I can aspire through this effort to know I made a positive difference with my business life. That I kept balance and perspective is what a good life really is. You see, when you read these 10 things fast, and I read them faster than I covered them with you, because I'm not digressing or giving explanations to myself, these top 10 reasons energize us. They energized me. All of a sudden, I've read that first thing in the morning, right after I got up. It makes getting ready to go different. It makes talking to Cindy different. When I hit the office and come through the door and I start interacting with people, with the first interview, whatever it is, the first presentation, it's different because I know why I'm doing this. I'm refreshed. I know what I'm fighting for. If I was a little tired, a little short on the sleep, it picked me up. This is great. Again, it sounds great power. Don't waste this instruction. Try and use it. All right, now, we're going to go to the next thing I covered on that interview. We're going to start talking about goals, objectives, deadlines. And this was the instruction that I received decades and decades ago. Now I'm talking 37 years ago when I read Think and Grow Rich on the recommendation of my leadership. I was new to the business, and I got to what was it, that publishing, page 36. It's how to turn your desires, I think, into gold, into its financial equivalent. And I'm going to review that process with you. It was called the 6 steps. I don't have them numbered here, but this is what it said. You got to fix in your mind, and this is, now I've translated it for the business, because that one it was money. You fixed the dollar amount in your mind. But for us, it's the exact number of recruits, sales, promotions, income, savings that you desire. You got to be definite as to the amount. And when I say recruits and sales, that might be personal, might be base, might be super base, might be total team, super team. But I had clearly defined goals again. Every month I set a recruiting goal and a production goal for my base, for our base, of what I thought we could do. If there's a certain number of promotions, senior associate, or whatever it might be, or we were going to promote a certain number of SMDs, and I might have that on a yearly basis also. But the reality is, on a monthly bite-sized level, I was able to keep an idea of my base and super base, and I'd have goals down for how many promotions I wanted to see from my super base, and from my base, from my super base, how many I wanted to see in the total organization. Certainly I had goals for income for the year, savings for the year, and they were specific. Again, I'm reading it every day, looking at it every day, and figuring out, okay, where am I in relation to this? If I'm ahead of schedule, I exult. I might even upgrade the goal. At the same time, I'm falling a little behind. I figure out, what do I got to do to catch up? And I burn a little brighter. Work with a little bit more intensity. Second thing, you determine exactly what you intend to give, right? In return. Because the bottom line is, as Napoleon Hill teaches in that book, you don't get something for nothing. And so you talk about giving in return. What do most of us have to give? We don't have a lot of money. So we give our time. So put down, what are you willing to do? I put down, I'm willing to work, 6 days a week. I'm willing to work the nights. And that's what we did. We worked. Sunday, I kept sacred. after the first few weeks where I tried to work 7 days a week and was miserable. And then we went to church on Sunday. And frankly, we served there, taught Sunday school, whatever it was we were doing at the time. But the reality was, that's what we were willing to give in return to make that happen. Good stuff. Boy, this reminds me of so much to tweak before the end of the year. I'm so grateful to go through this with you. And thanks for listening. We got 1,081 locations now. Next thing, have a definite date for their achievement. This is pretty special when this starts happening in your life. So you've got exact numbers. You're clearly defined, and you do this within your family. This is what we're willing to give in return to have this change in our lives, and we're going to achieve certain things by certain dates. Base shop recruiting production goal by the end of the month, whatever the month was, right? I'd have that set before January for what we were going to do by the end of January, and I'd have it set before the end of January for what we were going to do in February and so forth, and it kept me ahead. It was just this stuff that put me among the elite players in the companies I was in. This is what did it. Again, I wasn't smarter, I wasn't better, than so many of these people. But I was more focused. I was clear. I was more reactive to things, so that we kept moving. I just hope you make use of this if you haven't been. All right. So you got a definite date as to what's going on. Yeah? Yeah. Commit to your deadlines, right? You've got to commit to your deadlines. You can't go, oh, we're not going to hit it. I'll just reset it. Oh, we're not going to hit that one. I'll just reset it again. All right? Quit copping out on yourself that way. That comes back to burning desire. You got to want it more than that. I remember setting original goals for when I was going to get promoted in the company I was in. The first promotion was something called sales leader. Then it was district leader. Then it was division leader. Then it was RVP or regional vice president. We have different titles today, but that was basically the process. I hit the sales leader promotion goal because I'd set dates. I hit the district leader promotion goal, but I missed division. And it burned me because I was reading it every day, and it was past. And I ratcheted up my intensity more and more and more and more, and I finally hit division, and I only had like 2 months to hit my vice president's goal, which was usually the biggest gap between promotions time-wise. But because I had built up all that intensity, I had caught up a lot of it, and I only missed my VP promotion goal by 2 weeks. You guys, that's the power of this. That's the power of not drifting, but moving with intent. Imagine setting sail in an old sailing ship across the ocean, and you don't have a rudder, and you don't put up many sails, and all you do is just kind of blow around till you all starve to death. I mean, that kind of happens in people's lives, right? So you got to have these things defined, definite dates, and you got to commit to the deadline. Then you're going to start watching life change. It's pretty cool. Next, we're going to talk about inspiring yourself to do it. And so now we begin the process of, hey, I've done this. I've got it in print. Now what? Well, you got to read it aloud at least twice a day. Like I said, I read it morning and night, sometimes during the day too, right? As you read it, this is really important. You're going to see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of what you desire. Your savings goal, your personal recruits, your base shop recruiting, your base production. See it, feel it, believe yourself that that's already there. Right? You're going to possess that. You're going to realize your desires. You're competing, and you're going to win. All of this. You got to see it, feel it, and believe it. Right? As you read it. Be careful with this, you guys. This has a lot of power in your life. Make sure you're reading worthy things. Right? But you got to see it before you have it. Burning a desire is critical. And you're going to think about how good you're going to feel when you do it. Right? I mean, this is fun. Reading a good plan, right, that's fresh, and, you know, if it starts to get stale, again, you sit down, clear some hours, there's not more important time you could spend, and refresh that thing, because you want to be excited to read it. Not read and go, I thought I was going to change that. And then pretty soon, if it gets too stale, you put it down, and you stop reading it, and all your power starts to drift away, right? And your focus, and your intensity, and your desire decreases, and you start to perform at a much lower level. And so you get all this down. It's a big deal, right? I'm going to encourage you to read good books, listen to good messages, to grow and be inspired. That doesn't mean change direction every time, right? But you're using that to fuel who you are and what you want to become. This is all about self-improvement. Next, write deep and important emotions into this. Combine it with your top 10 list. You know, you might add some things on a particular item. Remember, you're doing this for Cindy and your children, you know, Cindy, Alicia, Richard, and Brett, whatever it was I was reading, right? And you get this. And you talk, and you might write something into your savings goal. Think how good this is gonna feel so good to have this savings with the peace of mind and the security for our family. You might add some things like that energize you, right? We'll see. Now, I want you to know that this is a team sport, right? And so you got to have some methods to inspire others, right? Because you've got to not just do this yourself, you got to help and challenge your team to do these things we've been talking about. You got to help and challenge them to achieve their goals, not yours. You can't sit there and read your plan to them and expect them to get excited about it, all right? Well, it's a good example, but it's not what will really truly inspire them. And you've got to have and keep high positive expectations with good standards of excellence for them. You've got to make sure that's written into their plans as well as yours. But you've got to help them do this. Well, as you learn to do it, you've got to pass it on like every other worthwhile thing in the business. That's the way it's got to be. Now I'm going to read to you. I'm just going to roar through it. A brief example of what a personal plan would be, what it would sound like. Maybe what it would feel like a little bit to you. And I'm going to do the financial plan. Then I'm going to get into the base and super base plan. And so this personal plan is very simple, but it has the things that are important to me and probably important to many or even most of you. And so the first line in it is, I am and must constantly strive to be a great loving husband and father. A loving, warm, tender, happy home life with my family is the way to experience heaven on earth. I'll find deep happiness and peace through my service to my family. My commitment and focus is constant and eternal in perspective. I'll be positive and with humor look on the bright side of how wonderful our life together is and will always be. We'll work together to have patience, self-respect, respect for each other, trust, harmony, and fun. I'll be positive and with humor look on the bright side of how wonderful our life together is and will always be. I already read this. I liked it so much, I read it again. We'll regularly count our blessings. We'll be unselfish and serve one another. We'll honor our parents. You know, because we read this, Cindy and I, we went out to the cemetery, and we put Christmas wreaths on the stones over my father and her father and mother. And then I went to visit my mom in the home, and it was an honor our parents' day, and we made extra effort. I made sure my mom, even though she has dementia, she knew in that moment where she's aware enough to know who her son is, how much her son loved her, and was always going to take care of her. And it's good to be reminded of those things, isn't it? Not to forget. I'll keep reading before I get a little too choked up on that one. I'll be creative and thoughtful in my romance with Cindy. I have a dream wife. We'll share many wonderful times together as I focus my love on her happiness. We'll have weekly dates and regular exciting mini honeymoons. I love those mini honeymoons. I'm father to 3 remarkable children who will know every day their father loves, respects, and believes in them. I'll have a private, loving, one-on-one listening interview with each of them every week. I'll set this appointment every Sunday for the week following. I did this when they were younger. We still have listening interviews, but it's not always every week. One lives out of state, that kind of thing. They're adults. But I still prompt myself. I would rewrite this a little bit for the current season of my life. But I'm reading this for those of you that are younger. Most of you are younger than I am that are listening to this. And the last thing in this personal plan, my role as husband and father is my greatest joy and responsibility in this earth. I'm happy as I commit all I have to their happiness. I'm so blessed to be a husband and family man. My heart is full. This blessing is truly wonderful. Now imagine just reading that to yourself. Some version of this. Every day, morning and night. Wouldn't we be better? Wouldn't we be better husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, sons and daughters? Grandsons, granddaughters, wouldn't we have a greater spirit of gratitude? Wouldn't we keep a better attitude in relation to our family life? Not get so stressed out, remembering who we are and who we want to be. And so this is the power of having these things clearly defined and in writing and reading them, morning and night. It's a pretty cool thing. All right. Now I'm going to go to the financial one, because that's important too. It starts out with this phrase, great debt-free financial strength. Yeah. It's kind of fun. And debt-free is a big deal. Our new home in Pebble, the time we sell the farm and our beach house, we're able to buy it cash. We love that. It means something to us to have paid off property. I'm wealthy, debt-free, and independent. I was reading this before I was. Remember, you're visualizing what it's going to be like, how good it's going to feel. I will continue to hold my conservative, service-oriented, debt-despising philosophy. I'm achieving all the following objectives by increasing my income and controlling my expenses. It feels fabulous to experience total financial independence. If all you read was that would be a winner. Right? If that was your total financial plan, right, you'd have a better, stronger financial life. And you wouldn't be drifting on this stuff. But I'm going to keep going, because there are other things you want to have in it. From January to December, I will put blank per month, whatever your amount is, on my home mortgage. Maybe that's priority to you, maybe it isn't. But you might want to put something on it, because it's fun to pay that sucker off. It's fun to have paid off houses, right? It's like the farm, been paid off for decades. Beach house, been paid off for over a decade. We've owned it for 13 years, been paid off for 12. All right? And this is fun, right? It's fun having it that way. I'll put X amount, pay off my last remaining debt. I'll never need or want to borrow again. I'll have blank amount in personal cash savings by December 2018. Also an average of blank per month. And so you set your goal for how much you're going to have saved by the end of the year. And what are you going to save per month to get there? What do you need to? Right? You don't have to do those calculations. We're supposed to be doing that for other people. Please make sure you've done it for yourself. Next, I'll have blank amount in liquid assets by January 1. That'd be 2019. Right? And you've set a goal for upgrading your overall asset structure. Tighten up and stay tight on personal and business expenses. Have a clear written line item budget for personal and business. My career effort is in large part wasted without financial discipline. Update these objectives regularly. I'm a great steward and enjoy winning financially. That's pretty simple, wasn't it? Just a few sentences, but it'll change your economic life. Change the destiny of your family. It'll change what you teach your children. It'll change the power of your example in your own home, in front of your team. Just having this simple, straightforward goal. Anybody who knows me knows I preach this stuff all the time. I just wear you out about financial discipline, right? Because I want you to win and win big. It's a big deal. A big deal. All right, now we're going to shift gears and talk about your base and super base plan. And we're going to finish up with this. And this one is pretty substantive because I wanted to be comprehensive so you could look back over it and draw from it. Yeah. we will give this to you. You don't have to be trying to take notes on this as fast as you can, right? This will be available. It'll be up. We've already sent this to the home office, to post, and so you have it on a timely basis. But I'm going to read this from beginning to end so you can kind of picture in your mind yourself doing the same thing and imagine what it would do for your career, what it would do for your performance, for your reaction time when things aren't going like you want them to, for maintaining momentum once you've gotten it, all of that stuff. So here we go. I get a little short of breath of this because it pumps me up, but I don't tire of doing it. I must be more intense about what will win for my family and our team than I've ever been before. All the work we've done up to now has been to prepare us for this move. Do not waste this golden opportunity to win big. Lead the team more energetically and enthusiastically every day. Everything you've wanted to achieve is on the line. This rare time will not last forever. Give it all you have. We must gear up recruiting constantly. This is my greatest strength and ability. Attack, attack, attack. I love that kind of stuff. We must do more than blank recruits and blank points in the base and blank recruits and blank points in the super base in January, right? And so I have those numbers in front of me, and I change them and update them every month, you guys. I'll keep reading. Be intense about these goals and what you need to do to accomplish them. I'm willing to give most of my time, 6 days a week, and invest a great deal of emotional intensity and mental energy to achieve total victory in my business. I'll be constantly positive. I'm going to grind it out and love it. And again, if that's all you read, this would have great power in your life. But there's more. My ultimate priority is rapid, effective growth. We must always be after it. Every day is important. All of us need to be talking about the same things. It's got to be kept simple and consistent. Be obsessed with recruiting. Never take your concentration off of it. Recruiting is our business. Always talk it. Constantly challenge the team and our leadership to recruit, build, and lead. Now, these were my priorities, you guys. I wanted to be a great builder. You want maybe want to be a great asset gatherer. You write your own plan, right? But this was mine, and this was built. My goal was to be 80% of the code numbers of the company I was a part of, and we did it. We did it with focus and intensity and staying on message, on target. It's so much fun. Next page. When I go start in the base. So that was kind of my prep talk, right? Now I started working in my base. My base shop is your originating source of all power, prestige, income, and the key to the big time. I must build and maintain a giant base shop, my number one priority. Must also build a huge first-generation team of whatever the total number I was shooting for. 100 SMDs in order to have a chance at total victory. Think big and keep it simple. I've got to be willing to do the same things over and over again. This has to be a special effort. That really is our career, you guys, doing the same things over and over again. Work hard. Set a superb personal example. Keep your personal activity high. Continually personally recruit and field train as an example to others to never quit your number one job. Follow up every aspect of our recruiting system. Control the point of contact. Make sure the new recruit is being helped to contact their natural market effectively. Motivate leaders to help. Talk invitations constantly. Always keep the pipeline full. Always create a high expectation of heavy recruiting activity. All big winners recruit big. Make sure BPM attendance, new and old, is rising. And by the way, if it wasn't, I reacted to it. Why? Because I'm reading this to myself twice a day. Do an effective BPM and teach it to others. Make sure the BPM teams of our organization are motivated and enthusiastic and know their responsibility. Follow up all interviews, meetings, and classes, and make sure they're motivational and enthusiastic. Keep the team on fire. Make sure more and more new and old people come to our meetings. Is this good programming or what? This is great code if you want to be a builder, right? This is the code I wrote into my brain, into my software. We must recruit above ourselves. Check age, marital, and financial and business status of our recruits. Make sure AMAs are in rapidly. Install a sense of urgency in our leaders to follow up fast. Start our recruits fast. Challenge recruiting and field training from day one. Focus them on their SMD promotion. We're an SMD factory. Always be an outspoken crusader. I also focus them on licensing. Always be an outspoken crusader. Educate the team on how and why we're right. Make sure our recruits own the product. Make sure all attend the BPM and those who don't. are followed up for product. You got to do that so you have high production while you have heavy recruiting emphasis. Promote base shop meetings, business format schools, fundamental workshops, training events and big events. Use these as tools to stimulate increased activity among the team. Capture their imagination. Stretch their vision. Constantly review the field proficiency of our leaders. Always check new and existing leadership here. Expect a high volume activity from all leaders on the team. A good base shop leader should be involved in at least 4 recruits and 8 sales a month. All levels in this business should be making a good income. Hold up successful members as heroes as they set up winning examples. Again, I hope you're feeling it. How sharp you get when you're reviewing this stuff like all the time. Our base shop leaders must know how to and do a business plan and set goals. Develop and maintain target market lists. That's prospect list. Invite to BPMs. Control the point of contact. How to run sharp BPMs and all the stuff before, during, and after. Right? Run powerful, sincere BPMs in classes. Do good follow-up interviews. Recruit one-on-one. Be AMA aggressive. Sell and field train effectively. Use the referral system. Use the match-up system. Meet all compliance requirements. Promote team meetings, business format schools, training events, and move the team to major events. This is the stuff, right, that we constantly reviewed. And I would think about my leaders and look at this checklist and figure out, what did I need to talk to them about next? What individual mentoring did I need to do? What did we need to cover in our format schools? Or you understand? And to make sure that they were getting better at this stuff. And so we kept going. Follow up and monitor every aspect of this all the time. Then I'm back to it. Communicate. Make constant phone and personal contact with all active people in your base. Zero in on your best players and give them firm direction. Build a great, powerful phone, voicemail, note, letter, email, newsletter, Facebook, whatever, social media mega habit. I'm a compulsive communicator. Talk to your first-generation SMDs and key leaders every week about their recruiting numbers, points, and possibility thinking. Inspire them to excel. Meet with them personally once a month. Produce at least blank number new first-generation SMDs by December 31st, 2018. Come on. Next, meet with our leaders at all levels all the time. Watch for and ask about promising newcomers. Constantly set goals and motivate your leaders in terms of what will turn them on. Go over the goals and plan of action for each key manager regularly. You had to come in and read me your plan. When we did our full-timers meeting, we started it by everybody reading their plan. And then we went into our full-timers meeting on Mondays when we did it. Struggle to grow and improve yourself. My performance and abilities in the areas of motivation, communication, recognition, and personal relationships must always be improving. Concentrate on becoming better every day. Within all my work, keep a great positive attitude. Express love and praise constantly to the team. Search for reasons to recognize and praise. Develop a creative and active recognition program. Always work hard to make others feel good. Always be in the dream selling business. Sell the dream, sell the dream, sell the dream. Think bigger, think bigger, think bigger. Think bigger than you ever have before. Always crank it up. Never accept defeat. Keep attacking. Make and save big money. Earn blank amount by December 31st back to 2018. Save blank amount per month and accumulate blank by the end of the year. Even though I had a financial game plan, I put it in my business plan too, because obviously my business is what was going to fund those goals. Yeah. To win big and be happy, my priorities must be in order. I'll fulfill spiritual, family, emotional, physical, and financial goals. I'll always keep an internal perspective. A winner is a winner in all areas of his life. This is life's great challenge, and of course, her life. Don't ever let up. Be competitive. Be intense. You're meant to be number one. Don't let anybody take your spot at the top. Always be in the hunt. Be disciplined. Manage your time and praise God. Attend to your family. Do all the things you need to do to win big. Whoa! Anyway, now, I want you to figure out what the difference would be in 2018 if you have your personal version of this. If you'll do the work between now, what's the date today, 13th? 13th of December. Will you please make sure you have your version of this, personal, financial, maybe you write a physical plan too, right, because you've got some things in your fitness or your health that you want to attend to, so you want some reminders in that. and think about what it's like to read this stuff to yourself in the morning. Look, don't let the world program you. You program you. Right? Don't let all the crybabies around us, you turn on the TV and wah about politicians and wah about this and wah about that and all that stuff. You know what? I wasn't going to hope government was going to take care of me. I figured government's going to screw up most of what it touches. Now, thank goodness we have it, but man, they're not good at a whole bunch of stuff, right? But I could be good at a bunch of stuff, and who's going to take care of my family? Who's going to take care of the team? That was something that I assumed responsibility for, as much as you can, right? Because all your team's individuals too. But gosh, you got to write better code for yourself, and you got to help your people write better code. I want you to pay attention to this. This will change your life. And there you go. Now we have these quotes. Cute little quotes. Plans are nothing, planning is everything. That was former President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and also a great general of the armies of World War II. Reduce your plan to writing. This is Napoleon Hill. The moment you complete this, you will have definite, I can read, definitely given concrete form to the intangible desire. I'll start over. The moment you complete this, you will have definitely given concrete form to the intangible desires that you have. Get it in writing, guys. Next one. A good system shortens the road to the goal, right? And I wrote a system into that plan. And when planning for a year, great Chinese proverb, plant corn. Planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people. And that's what we do. We plan for life. And our job is to train and educate people. All right, next week. Sorry, Canada. I know you beat us last year, but that's right. That's when we beat Russia back in 1980 when we were amateurs against their professionals. Yeah, Olympics coming up. We might as well throw that into it. And USA, sorry. World-class teamwork. So we're going to have that, because you want to have some of these moments, you and your team, if you can see this picture. You want to have some of these moments and see your team name on those jerseys. And Cindy and I are going to work, as I said, do this together with you on what it means to create world-class teamwork within your home, within your business, right? How do you do that? What are the components of it? Because all of us typically want better teamwork, right? How do we inspire that? How do we instill that? And so we're gonna spend some serious time with you. Second Wednesday, January 10th, 2018. By the way, you'll have been reading your goals and objectives and your plan, right? For at least 10 days by then, right? Hopefully you get it done before the end of December and be programming yourself. It's never too soon to write better code. So let's get better performance. All right. Love y'all. Again, the best to you for this season. It's a great spirit that is in our communities, and even on the road, it seems everybody's a little better, a little nicer. It's fun to be around. And make an effort to contribute to that spirit. I love being in business with you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being on the call. Bye.